everyone. All right, and we're live at Expert35. We're back. I got Greg with me. Greg, thanks for being with us today.
How's it going?
And Greg's always with us. He's always behind the scenes 100% of the time. I know he's been on the air a couple of times, but we thought we'd jump on before the end of the year. Again, as promised, bringing you experts from 35 different industries, talking about the hardships, the challenges, and the opportunities. But today, Greg and I are just going to talk about 2020 because what a year, what a challenge, and really let's just kind of recap those things that happened and the funny moments and the learning experiences. And I couldn't have done it without you, Greg. So I just wanted to thank you for 2020 because it's been a pleasure working with you, and this wouldn't happen if you weren't there every day behind the scenes helping me make this happen. So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Gabe, and it's been so much fun, and we've learned a ton, and I've enjoyed every second of it. So thanks for allowing me to, help out and however I can. So.
And we're all over. I mean, I started in Houston. Greg's always been in LA. We started this basically because we knew 35 experts, and we said, "Hey, let's start a show." And we didn't know anything about this. I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I didn't know how to be in front of the camera. In fact, I still don't know what I do, but it's easier. We'll talk about some of the things that we've discovered. Greg, what are some of the fun things behind the scenes that you're like, oh, well, here's a button we didn't know, or like, here's a way to do it better?
Yeah, it seems like that was happening. Like right at the beginning, we were doing 2 and 3 shows a week, sometimes 4. Mm-hmm. So it was definitely a baptism of fire, and trying to learn the app, a brand new platform on how to even put this together. And right at the beginning, just because it's the way it happened or that's how we do things, we ended up trying to do like 3 location shoots and not knowing connectivity and how everything plugged in and how everything works. So we jumped in the deep end for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We use BeLive. So like, we'll throw that out there. We'll put some of this stuff in the notes so people know what we're doing. But yeah, we use BeLive, which is a platform that lets us change the lower thirds, lets us invite guests, and like just kind of do this thing in real time. Originally, that wasn't my plan. I kind of wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to just interview people and like put together some beautiful video, and realized ain't nothing beautiful about this video. And what's actually really beautiful is the fact that there's errors, there's mistakes, that it became like natural. And I think I embraced that, is that I would go into it not knowing what I was going to say, literally kind of just get a little bit of an idea of who the expert was. And we do a little chat. So Greg, tell them a little bit about like the warm up, because you talk to them a little bit before the show, like a couple days before. We get some data from them, but what's the behind the scenes before we go live?
Yeah, so after they submit, the form and we get them all lined up and scheduled, then they actually jump in. We all get together online like a half hour before, 35 minutes before we go live. And that's pretty much to, give a review of everything that's going to happen, what they can expect. And it's just a good way to, kind of get everything warmed up and going and check out everything with the tech and what's going on with audio and any connectivity issues in the background. So then hopefully by 9:35 when we go live, that basically we're going straight into the show and keeping up the momentum that we've already built in the pre-show. So it's actually extremely helpful to be able to have those conversations because it makes the program that much better.
Yeah, and then we learn that never to overestimate what you're going to talk about. And don't plan it too, because then you'll never hit it, right? Oh, we got some of the OGs. We got Jennifer. Oh, there we go. Jennifer Johnson. Thank you for joining us. She's been on the air probably the most. She is the mostest. And we got Dr. E.T. chiming in as well. Dr. E, thank you so much for like really kind of guiding us into the whole educational world. Like once you joined, we realized that all these teachers needed resources and the students as well. And so I just learned so much. I mean, we got the video of the first one was right here. It was Shalini, and we just decided to go live. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know. I didn't even know my intro, right? And I was just like, let's just do it. And I remember I would just keep looking to the side, and I was like looking down, and I didn't know if it was working or not. But Shalini made it happen. So Shalini, one of the first ones. Thank you so much if you're out there. Big shout out to pushing us over, and it was just such a great show to get me past all those fears and like, oh, is it gonna work? Are people gonna watch it? And I think some of those, some of the ones that I think are gonna be the worst or the best ones were the worst ones. Some of the best ones were the worst ones.
Even though it doesn't seem that way at the time, it's awful. But you're right.
Right. This is what you were talking about, Greg. This is our penguin reveal. We actually had like connectivity to the zoo, and they were going to do like a gender reveal. Oh man, it took multiple cameras. Like one had to be near the penguin, but another can't. But that was just a microphone, and another one had to be watching, and they were all social distances, of course. And so it just, we planned the whole script. Don't plan scripts. Like that's probably a good, like 3 things to never do. Don't do a script. I think that's why Jennifer Johnson and Dr. at AT, like they're so great. It's just like, we just got them on and we just chatted instead of thinking like, oh, we want to say this and make sure you get all these things in. It just makes it that much more organic. Right. So that one was a little bit of a flop too, because we were trying to like, well, at least everybody saw the penguin, but then she got so nervous, she jumped out, and like we had to cut to us. And I didn't know anything about penguins. So another thing to do is make sure you know a little bit about your topic. How about this one, Greg? This is probably one of the biggest ones out there that I thought was going to be a home run.
That was a crazy day. That was a crazy day. Yeah. We had just huge amounts, everyone's now having been on Zoom this whole time, working from home, having connectivity issues, bouncing in and out. And we had the motherlode happen on this show. We just couldn't keep connectivity. And so Gabe, you had to just basically, row the boat the rest of the way and just talk about, whatever the expert was going to talk about. And that was a harrowing experience. I can't imagine.
And shout out to Lester. Lester is a professional, like he's an expert. He's won, is it Emmy? I forgot what the awards are for like broadcasting. So he is on Univision, right? He is talking about the sports every day. And of course, sports had just been canceled, and they thought maybe how are they going to be different? So I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be the easiest one. I'll just let him do what he needs to do. It was the first time I hadn't really done any research because I was like, not afraid, because I was going to have an expert on the show. I mean, they're all experts, but like an expert broadcaster. I think that's what it was. And oh my God, he kept dropping off. And all of a sudden I'm looking at the camera and I have 0 notes, and I've got to talk about like football and baseball and soccer. And don't get me wrong, I like sports, but I'm not one of those guys that just knows sports. I'm like, I don't know the schedules. I don't know who's playing. I don't even know if it's on and my friends want to watch it, I'll watch it. So I was definitely not the right person. But I think it gave me the confidence to realize like, oh, I can like push through some of this stuff. And I remember Craig Murphy, he's been on the show as well. So shout out to Craig Murphy. Cause he sent it back to me. He sent me messages like, oh, you really like held your own. I'm like, I was just clawing trying to stay on the air. And then Lester would jump back on and he would just pick off where he left off, but I'd already moved. And so we were always like zigzagging. And he was the first guest. I don't know if you remember this, Greg, or not, but he would just pick off questions. He's like, oh, look, this guy has a question. Do you remember that? We lost you, Greg. Oh, no. Am I lost? All right. I think I'm still live. So, yeah, no, he would just pick up questions and be like, "What about this guy?" And I would be like, "Man, like the show's so only supposed to be so long, and this is how we like get him off the air." And I didn't want to get him off the air. I didn't know if we could talk for 45 minutes, but it turned out to be a really, really fun show. And look, I've learned this. Like we just lost Greg, right? So I'm still talking. I'm kind of looking on the lower third, seeing when he pops back in here. And if not, I just kind of keep rolling with the punches. So I think that's one another big lessons is like don't stop, right? Ended up buying an RV in the middle of the pandemic. Went from living in Houston River Oaks to a 130 square foot RV, the Vibe right behind me, and we took the show on the road, which was really really fun and really um, changed the way that we had to kind of work with things because now we had nature. Like that's one of the shows I had to be holding down the canopy because the wind was so strong and it was kind of crazy. Here we got a little question from Jennifer Johnson. How about a montage of your different hair? Oh yeah, well that's what's happening. That's kind of why this is happening. the This actually went from the COVID call, but this is one of my favorite, Jennifer, because we were doing this. It was cold. It was raining outside. And I'll have to disclose this behind me is the bathroom door. I'm actually sitting on the RV like commode doing this Expert 35. And Jennifer knew it, and thank God Jennifer didn't say anything because Jennifer is one to like just say, "Hey, where are you? Where are you? Where are you sitting? Why is that behind you?" But the shower's like right here. I'm on the commode. It was just incredibly challenging, and my girlfriend, which then turned fiance during the show, and now she's a wife. Now, actually, this is my first time announcing it probably on Expert 35. That since the show started, I went from a boyfriend to a fiance to a husband. And you're right, Jennifer. You did not say a word. You were great, but I shouldn't have told you because I knew that was a red flag. But that was a those are the challenges of like being on the road using your remote logins. Sometimes we're using Wi-Fi from the RV center. Sometimes we're using hotspots. I'm on a satellite right now, and I'm sure it goes in and out. Like I said, I got engaged in the middle of the deal. So here's Danny Shaftel, one of our experts, actually like did a great ring for me and like helped me through the whole process. All the experts helped me. I had Alicia Goodnight get me wine to surprise my fiance, and I've had, I've done acupuncture. I mean, I've learned so much from everybody on the show. I've done things I never thought I'd do. In fact, I never thought I'd be in front of the camera, and so that's really the huge thank you. This has changed how I connect. This changed how Textify. So our company actually does the text messaging. So when you say, "Hey, text expert," whatever, that's what I do. A lot of people has like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Well, do you just run the show?" And well, we showcase some of our clients through Textify as well. And look, it took that long for Greg to join us, and he's yellow. So I'm totally gonna put him on. This is what we got to do with. Like, I'm gonna put you on the air, and it's just a yellow spot. Oh no, wait, now I just died. Oh, there he is. It was just like a big yellow block.
Oh, speak of the devil, man.
But that was perfect because we were just talking about like this is things I learned how to do, right?
Yeah, I just had a
Jennifer's
blue
asking, when
screen
does
of death.
Expert 35 come back? Oh no, not on your new computer because you just got your new computer, right?
No, that's why I got a new one. That was the old one. So
yeah. Jennifer, we are back. This is our summary for the year, but we're going to start in January, probably January 6th. We've got like a lot of our experts have been doing like a Secret Santa, and we're gonna do. Oh, that'd be fun. Oh, maybe we'll do, Secret Santa reveals. Maybe show some of the pictures of like the best gifts of Secret Santa, and go. I think I just lost Greg again. Oh no, there he is. So we're back. The move was crazy. I mean, from November 12th, which is kind of around our last Expert 35, we bought a property. I got out of the RV. Got engaged right before that. I got married what we're calling White Saturday, so right after Black Friday, in our barn. So we were out in the country. I would love to show you guys some of the stuff. In fact, I've been filming myself doing some of what I do not consider myself an expert by any means in running a ranch. But maybe we should air some of these things because it's kind of fun to see like how I fixed a chicken coop and like some of the welding and some of the stuff that I gotta just adapt out here. And but yeah, we got married and been moved offices and life and multiple property homes to get to live together. So thank you to everybody that's been a big part of it. And Greg, again, thank you because you like took over that. You went to some of my meetings and like just made sure that things were off my plate. So so I could get my new life in order.
Yeah, and I've said it before, but publicly on air, congratulations to you guys, and you guys are on a great adventure, and I'm stoked for you guys.
No, it's super exciting. I've got the health and wellness ladies up on the screen. That was another like super fun group, and learning how to put like multiple people on the air. I think it's just a testament to like how much we learned because we also learned about OBS. Is that what it's called, Greg?
Yeah, it's OBS.
Because we rebroadcast some of the episodes, right? And it's just been community building, and we just thank everybody that like follows us in the comments and jumping in there because it shows us that we are making an impact, right? I mean, I think I got hit really hard the whole BLM stuff. I think that's when Greg, you and I just went live for the first time. I think that's the first time people saw who you were,
Right.
and and I mean, I broke down, and I've broken down a couple times on this show because none of this is planned. Like, this isn't my job. This isn't like we do this because we care. Right. And I think that's probably like the third thing you should do now is do something you care about. Right. Because it makes it so much fun. Like, I do miss it. I missed Expert 35. It was great going from 4.5 to 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a ton of work. But yeah, I mean, this is something that we actually like really enjoy. And I've learned what are some of the things that you've learned, Greg, like just from listening to some of these people? You're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. We've had over 80 guests, right? And and of course these are all posted, all these videos and everything. And being in the background, being able to listen and not just seeing how the show's going, but also I've just learned a tremendous amount from every guest we've had, and just knowing that whether it's about painting a house and that there's 6 different types of tape and all the way up to attorneys and CPAs and all types of professionals that you can go back and actually watch the videos. And I'm just taken aback by the amount of fantastic information and actionable items that people actually bring to the show.
Yeah, no, and I think some of the things that I really enjoyed is, even just like the plumber, George gave me, like, he came out and like fixed our office, and just seeing how his group works and understanding, different experts, just their information. I remember, the Blades, Barbara Blades talked about appraisals, and then for insurance purposes, but also, for tax purposes. It's like, it just came and gave me an idea of like, wow, like there's so many things that I'm just so subpar at. and it was great talking to her. And then she invited the guy from India that did the whole tracking with like the blockchain for being able to track artwork. So really just super fun. And I got a picture of course, OG Jennifer Johnson, who she she has given us so much energy, right? Every time that like, every time that we needed someone to really kind of step up the game, Jennifer was there. We had some subs. I don't have a picture of Jose Pablo, but like I remember somebody dropped out, and we're like, oh no! And it was like T minus 30 minutes, and in less than 30 minutes, Jose Pablo, who runs, it's called 400 Voices. It's adult education or parent education to help their kids get through college for like low income families and Hispanic population in particular, and just incredible that he got his computer fired up. He got in there. He didn't know what was gonna happen, but we still did a great show. And thank you to everybody that's just always been there, right? Oh, that's a good question from Jennifer Johnson. What subject expert are you dying to have on? Greg, who? That's a good question for both of us. Who would you want to like learn from? I would love to learn somebody about that's like vaccines, right? I think like vaccine, but not just vaccines, more like how to maintain that your immune system going, right? Kind of like what Shauna does a little bit as well, but I think that's definitely something hot. What else are you thinking about, Greg?
Gosh, off the top of my head, we've had so many tremendous experts, and I think maybe just if we could get to some experts that are in some industries that we've not covered yet, and maybe that have a more of a national scope or a world scope, right? And to talk about some of the more macro issues that are going on that are going to affect all industries.
Yeah, and I think maybe that would be another interesting one is I hate the news. I hate if it bleeds, it leads. But I do want to talk to people that have shifted, right? I want to talk to people that have shut their doors down and then opened this up again. We've heard about a lot of people that, they got laid off or they started their business in the middle of the pandemic. And I think that's also kind of motivational, but the transformation, I would love to have experts on their transformation. We transformed. I mean, that's why we created Expert35. But at the same time, Textify and the text platform and text marketing, and we started doing takeout for restaurants where you could text in orders, and we adapted, but it wasn't quite the same as somebody that was maybe like brick and mortar and they had to like let their people go, or like how did they just readjust. We've been talking to bookkeepers, for instance, that lost a lot of their clients, but then all of a sudden they started finding a new avenue and hiring people again. So yeah, if you guys know of experts that have become experts, people that have became experts by fire, trial by fire experts, I think that's who would be a really neat group. Not established businesses that had to get established, as people that had to survive. And there's a lot of stories out there, and I would love to shine some light on them. And if we can give them business, if they're national, it's even better, because I think a lot of the experts we've been bringing on board have been very geocentric, right? Like that plumber services that area. Their expertise have been great because it's things that you can do remote. But I think it would be neat to have somebody that we could service or help with our platform through all of this. And also nonprofits. We'd love to get more nonprofits on here, help them adjust again and learn through that process, because it's not easy. 2020 has been a really tough year. It's been really hard emotionally. The distancing. I mean, I remember the first time I was breaking down on the show was talking about how I was in my friend's driveway, and we camped on his driveway because we weren't going to go inside because of the social distancing, right? And it's just hard, And Greg, you're in LA, right? You're like in the hot spot.
Yeah, we're the epicenter now, it looks like. So
yeah, right. And I think a lot. We haven't talked about this off on the air and everything, or offline either. But you can probably share some of your story too. Like this kind of has given you a way to like reconnect, right? And like be involved with people all over the US.
Yeah, it really has, because I've taken special precautions to keep myself socially distanced, and it's been challenging. So this has actually been a tremendous outlet, not just from a work standpoint, but with Expert35, talking and meeting people that would never have met before, and it's been a great experience, and I think there's huge value to that, and I think everyone, in whatever way, no matter what their interaction is with people, they're looking for that, and it's going to be a need moving forward. And maybe we can use that to adjust what we're doing on the show also.
Right. And one of the things that I really love is kind of the mentoring that we've been able to do. Several of our experts have started their own podcast. Jennifer started using BeLive to do her own blog. Shalini also has her Coffee with Cody Spody. So we should totally put in, what is it? Health and Dwellness, like the little podcast in there. Two designers and a builder walk into a bar. I always say two designers and a horse walk into a bar, but two designers and a builder. They have a big horse or a zebra in their thing. So we're gonna list some of their resources, because I think they're really powerful and motivational. And we're kind of like an open book, guys. If you guys drop us a line, we're happy to kind of respond and help guide through this process. I've been in business for almost 20 years now, 18 years now, and it's always run. I love Aaron. I should shout out to Aaron. Aaron actually has had some challenges throughout this, some stress, through this, but he did a great show on entrepreneurship and says, like, you're gonna make it. He was just like, you're gonna make it. Like, just keep plowing through, and you're gonna make it. And I think that's a big shout out. And I'm gonna put this one up here, because this is Jeff Pena, who ran for city council, and we just heard that he won the election, but he didn't just win the election. Like the Freeport Tribune or whatever the local newspaper was like, it was an easy victory. And so we're gonna claim that, like, putting him on Expert35 put him on the platform. But no, I mean, like, we
put him over the top. Congratulations, Jeff.
He did some great social media, and I love that. I love seeing people kind of like leverage off of what we're doing and put it out there and just mix it up. And Freeport is kind of like, it's a little bit of a heartbeat for all these communities. And I think that's kind of what we want to do, is we want to provide better resources, or resources that everybody can use, even in like small communities, because I think we're realizing how interconnected we are, right? It's not just these big cities and like, it's everybody's connected. I'm actually going to bring on an expert, because we're out in the country now, about farming. And, they're reintroducing wolves into this area. And, while the big cities are like, oh, wolves are going to be great, all this, all this study from National Geographic tells you wolves are great. Well, that's not so great for the farmers and the people that have chickens and the people that like put food on your table, And so I think it's going to be neat to probably give a voice to some of these smaller communities, and hopefully we can level the playing field, because it's really challenging. It's challenging when it's cold, clearly, and I'm learning a lot of new traits and a lot of new survival skills. And I think I hope to bring some of that and some of the experts that I'm talking to Expert35 in 2021 to continue this learning process and this giving process, and create more. He's over here. Create more Jeff Penas. Guys that move. I mean, Jeff used to work for Enron, runs his own business, moves to Freeport, and within a couple of years is on city council. And I think that just is a testament to how much you can make out of yourself and how much you can give back to a community and really build. So
so Gabe, I don't know if you've got our text, if you've put our text number up so people can see it or whatever, but hey everyone, just like Gabe has mentioned, if you have an idea, if you say, hey, this is something that you think that we should, look at covering or having on the show, or questions, comments, if you want to be involved, you want to be on the show, you want to contribute, text that number, right? You can either text Expert35 to that number, or just text that number, right? And we'll reach out to you, because we're an open book, and we want your feedback, and we want your ideas, because that's what makes this show great.
Absolutely. I think let's do it. Let's do 3 things we should do now, Greg. So we'll go back and forth. You do one. What's one thing we should do now?
Okay. The first one is just remember and remind yourself, life is 1,000 times too short, right? So right now we're all kind of like, everything's slowed down because of the pandemic and everything. Take that time to, go inwards and just, reflect and take advantage of the time, because life is short.
Reflect is a good one. I think another one is like, do something you love. Like, do things you love, because again, life is short, and to be, and especially in this environment, right? Either when you're giving, you don't need to receive as much, and I think that's been one of the things that's helped us through this, is realize that we all need things, right? Like, it's hard. Like, we need a hug. I think that's one of the things Jennifer and I we always talk about, is like, we miss the social gatherings and all that, because that was a way to connect. But give love, and reach out to people that you haven't heard from in a while. One of my favorite things was one of my friends. She had a quarter in her pocket. I think I've said this before, and she always said, "Why do I have a quarter?" I asked her why she had a quarter in her pocket. You used to be able to make a phone call for 25 cents. For those that are not on the digital world, where calls are free and there's no payphones anywhere. But you can put a quarter in. She'd say, every time I touch this quarter, I'd say, who would I call? What would I say? What am I waiting for? And I think that's like probably the best advice for 2020 and going into 2021. Like, grab a quarter, and the first person that you think about, they're like, oh my God, why am I thinking about that person? Right? And don't like change it. Whatever that person is, even if it's a frenemy or an enemy or whoever, right? Like, that person is in your life. What would you say to them? What are you waiting for? And just call them. And I think it's going to change the way you think, the way you grow, the way you interact, the way you, and opportunities will just open up, because you will reconnect. And the hardest thing is to fight that nerve. Is like, no, not that person. Let me think about somebody else. No, like that first person. So, Greg, who do you think about? What was the name?
What
popped in? What was it?
I don't know. I'll have to call.
No, it's somebody like, yeah. But like, and it's tricky, but it's like whoever you thought about, and then your mind will like pump that person out. But like, that's really, really powerful. So
actually, probably
stay
have
connected,
20
guys.
20 people on my list. So
stay connected. Much love. Anything else you'd want to add, Greg, to the year in review, or three things to do now?
I think the third thing is to be grateful and to give thanks. And so on that note, from Gabe and myself, we want to thank everyone who has joined Expert35 on Facebook, everyone that's watched, commented, any of the 80 plus guests we've had on the show, and a special thank you to the River Oaks BNI, because without you guys, this show would not exist at all. So thanks to everyone that's participated and made this a lot of fun for us to do.
Absolutely. Greg, and thank you to you, because I don't think people realize like just how much work you do, and how much, and it's hard, and it's not, and there's always a curveball. I mean, last Wednesday we had somebody and then we lost them. So this is our last episode of the first year of Expert35. Couldn't have done it without you guys. And I'm going to end on 35 minutes. This is awesome because it's Expert35. So here we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Gabe. See you guys.
We educate during difficult times. We collaborate at Expert35. This is for a better tomorrow and a better today. Let's come together and together we will find a way. You got questions, we got solutions. You got problems, we got resolutions. Visit Expert35.com. No need to worry, just remain calm. No more pain, no more sorrow. We provide solutions for a better tomorrow. No more pain, no more sorrow. We provide solutions for a better tomorrow.